Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Women at In Bed podcast. And we are shooting this in preparation for March, which is Women's History Month, and it includes International Women's Day. And per the usual at In Bed, we really like to go loud and proud and celebrate the posse of like the sisterhood, the badasses in the industry, the icons, the trailblazers, you name it. Okay. And today I am speaking with someone who is an absolute trailblazer. Um, she really needs no introduction, but I'm going to do it anyway. Paula Rinker. Paula Rinker, she is an icon in the industry. She is known in the industry by just everybody. She's known as just Paula. She sits on the AMA board. She sits on the AAMCF, which is the charity arm of AMA board as well. And she has been in the industry forever. Everybody knows her, and she is the arguably, I think arguably, or just I think unequivocally, there we go. She is the unequivocal authority of everything that has to do with plush toys. And since right now we all know that the claw is having a moment, okay? And what do you put in the claw machines? You put in plush toys. Her designs are head and shoulders above any competitive item. You can see it in the quality. And she designed them herself. And that is who we are speaking with today. Miss Paula, how are you?
Good, but now I'm blushing. Thank you. That was quite an introduction.
It's like you're saying it's quite an introduction, but anything less would not do. So, my dear, tell me, how are you doing today, and how are you doing in the run up to the March Madness that will be Women's History Month and International Women's Day?
We're doing well. Getting busy. Pixel is still in its infancy. We're about 5 to 6 months old, so we're still in our infancy, but we're quickly gaining toddlerhood. And we're really looking forward to Amusement Expo International in March, and every day at our company is International Women's Day.
That's right.
So it's another day, but it's always great to get a little recognition, and I appreciate that.
Oh, of course. You know me, man. I like to light up my sisters. I like to light up my posse. And I think what's important, though, to note is that in the last year, okay, so you've been in this industry forever. In the last year, boy, have you been on a serious streak of awesomeness, basically helping to found a company, Pixel Plush, and you did it with a partner, right?
Yes.
But for all intents and purposes, you are running the show, you are running that company, and at the same time, you're continuing to design plush toys, and at the same time, this is a distributor as well, in which you represent other brands. What are some of the brands that you represent?
Right now we carry Anna Rolls, and actually Anna Rolls is doing in addition to the line that they're known for. You can see the little Anna Rolls in Target and Walmart, TJ Maxx. They're the little kawaii style that are inside of like food. They hide inside of food objects, and they're super cute. They're actually coming out with a line for me exclusive for Pixel. So I'm excited about that. We'll be rolling that out in the spring. So not only am I distributing that brand, but they're making exclusive line just for me that won't be sold anywhere else except for Pixel. And then we will be carrying Squishmallows. We just picked up Italian Brain Rot, Labubu's. Labubu's. And then also a new upcoming line called Unique. The lady, she's also an awesome woman-owned business.
Yeah.
And she was the designer for Squishmallows before Jazzwares acquired them. So
Yes.
she is now, and I actually also do rep Squishmallows as well.
Yes.
So she has her own company and her own line, and it's just really cute things that, I'm happy to promote her line as a woman business to a woman business.
Absolutely. Female run, absolutely. So
And
how
Anna
many,
Rolls is too, yeah. Hmm.
really? Okay, so tell me this. How long have you been in the industry? How many years? What are we talking about?
Officially working in the FEC space per se, probably now, not as long as you think, probably about 12 years. But I actually got my start in bowling. I ran three
Okay.
bowling centers. And my first job was in bowling. My parents were bowlers. My father was a semi-professional bowler.
Uh-huh.
So bowling took up a lot of my life. So if you add the time that I spent in the bowling space to that, probably about
Yeah.
20 years. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So 20 years in one industry is amazing, but it's not uncommon in this specific industry, right? The business of fun, the industry of fun. And anyone who thinks that, hey, it's just fun and games, actually, you take the business of fun incredibly seriously. And what I also love is how seriously you take, the charity side, right? The part
Mm-hmm.
of giving and giving back specifically to the families in need, the very families who are supporting our industry. It's a lot. You're juggling a lot. So tell me, what is your secret to success?
I would say it's to show up, stay
Yeah.
curious, and don't be afraid to get your hands dirty. And I think most important, especially from my hotel experience, you need to listen. In this world of AI and automation, but even in our day-to-day exchanges at the airport or whatever, please and thank you are basically superpowers. People don't harness the power of please and thank you enough. I believe it's important to treat people like humans and build real relationships. Ask them about their kids. Know when their soccer games are. Laugh when they laugh, cry when they cry, but have fun doing it. It's a lot cheaper than therapy.
You are so funny. Okay, that is so true. All right. So, on that note, tell us, what is the one lesson, if you could pinpoint one lesson you learned in the FEC business or working with these kind of family run organizations?
I think the family run FECs, they run on heart. Once again, the human thing, hustle, and a whole lot of we'll figure it out by Friday. But I find that when passion and process team up, you get magic and fewer gray hairs than you'd expect. So I think it's the human factor. I think because we're in the fun business and because of the families involved in it, I just think there's a lot more bigger human factor because at the end of the day, FECs are all about creating experiences and memories. And we just always have to remember that.
What is your favorite quote?
I have three.
Rock
Um,
on.
I have three. So the first one, I know that it was credited to Katharine Hepburn. If you don't learn to paddle your own canoe, you don't move. And then also say, behind every successful woman is herself. And don't make people priority who treat you like an option. I'm having that one embroidered on a pillow for my living room.
There are many ways that people would describe, the dynamic person that you are and that gift of generosity, right? That spirit of generosity. I don't think a single person would refer to you, especially with all the charity work that you do, as selfish. Okay?
Oh, I appreciate that. But I guess what I'm
I,
saying
yeah,
is that you need to protect yourself because people will take advantage of you. Maybe that's the correct. There are people out there, both men and women, that have generous
yes,
spirit, and that phrase I think is applicable to both. It's just don't, somebody
yes.
if you give and give and pour yourself out on a garden that doesn't want to bloom for you, just go on to another garden.
That's right, sister. Take your toys to another sandbox.
Take your
That's
toys to another
right.
sandbox. Absolutely.
Yeah. And in fact, I think it was Mel Robbins who recently said she started off the year with a really great podcast in which she basically said, hey, listen, you can be a really good person with a good heart and still tell people to f off, which I think is
Absolutely.
really powerful. Okay,
Mhm.
sister, observations about the FEC business and the industry, specifically as it relates to gender parity. You just mentioned something about roles. Is there anything else that, the traditional roles that we were all socialized with and how we have to be the change that we want to see and want to be? Just tell me, was there anything else that you wanted to add besides that,
Sure.
what you
So
just mentioned?
I just think that once again, women traditionally, if there was a great event or something we had to prepare for, a man might have been in charge, but the women were the quiet background, but background. My God, I don't speak much in my profession. Backbone. um, and it was quiet and it was secret, and that if a job had to be done, they had an assistant that took care of everything. And even up to 10 years ago or 12 years ago, when I first got in, there weren't as many women in the industries, and the ones that were sort of in that role. They were assisting somebody else, or they were making great events, and they were getting some thank yous, but not. They weren't invisible. I just think now we are so much visible. I mean, you have women in the industry that are very vocal, that are changing, and more importantly, men are acknowledging it, not as women. And I don't want to say is they're acknowledging us as women. They're acknowledging us as professionals. They're seeking our advice. They want to know what we think.
That's right.
They're asking us to educate them. So now we're the backbone, we're the brains, we're the voice, we're the negotiators, we're the spreadsheet winners. We're still reminding everyone where they put their keys, but I think progress looks good on us.
I think actually you are 100% correct. I think obviously in some spaces more than others, you're seeing an incredible amount of progress happening. And I think it's worthy of note. I think it's worthy of celebration as well. So 2 years ago when we met, I was
Mhm.
at the AMA annual meeting in Chicago, and then last year it was in Dallas. But when we met, I just remember that, Beth Stanley was being voted into, the AMA board as president. And I remember she had a table and she said, Sarah, come. I've gathered all of us who have worked together for years, and it just happened to be, her chickies, right? Or the
Mhm.
sisterhood, call us whatever you want, right? All
Right.
of us sitting at the table, and I remember we took a picture, and it was just such a fun picture to take, right?
Yes.
And then
Mhm.
last year, we I love this. Last year, we show up in force, and sure, we had many more attendees to the event, but I love that after the gala, all of us got on the stage because we needed a stage given the size of the women that attended, all of whom are in the industry. Some are business owners and operators. Many are heads of their companies. And it's just all of them, of course, making their mark in the industry, right? Because even if they're not an owner operator per se, at the end of the day, they are influencing decisions that are made by the decision makers. And in many cases, they are the decision makers. And it was just incredible to see so many women on the stage, and the fact that they wouldn't fit no matter what lens we were using. We didn't all fit
Right.
in the picture. And it was just, oh man, it was so, heartening, at least for myself. I loved it. Okay. So life mantra.
Plan to pivot. I always have to have a plan A, plan B, plan C at all times, and sometimes I have a plan D. I find that life throws curveballs. I just make sure that I keep a lot of bigger bets.
That is so cool. That's left me speechless. You got a lot of curveballs. Make sure you got a lot of bats, different
A
size
bit, and make
bats.
sure they're less bats too. That way, you're most less likely to miss.
That's right. That's right. Okay. So, how did you overcome from failures and challenges in your life? And let me just preamble that by saying that, failures, challenges, obstacles is a part of the human condition and a part of life. It's how we navigate them and how we see them that makes a world of difference. So share with us, because I know you've had a few.
Yeah. So, challenges I think are like data. You sort of just store them in your memory bank and recall it as you need it. So that's what I look at. And I've always been a person, as when I do my sales training, that to a prospective salespeople, that a no means your challenge is to make a no a maybe and a maybe a yes. So to me, challenges are just plot twists in your movie of your life.
Yes.
But Malay, I'm sorry about that.
It's okay. It's
Yeah,
your, yes. Oh, Chris. Let's
yeah,
okay. Let's see Malay. Let's bring Malay into this.
there
Hey,
she
Malay.
is.
Okay, and just for anybody who's watching this, please take note. Okay, this is Paula's service dog. Her name is
Yes.
Malay. Malay is famous because when she made her appearance at Bowl Expo, people were stopping by and wanting to say hello to her, which is wonderful, right? And so
Mhm.
Paula took the opportunity to say, listen, okay, listen, the hugs are not free, but they are tax deductible because they're going
That's
to
right.
go to AAMCF, the charity fund for AMA. And I mean, just how brilliant was it of her to say, listen, whatever you can give would be great. It's all going to go to families in need with children, children with cancer, right? The very families that fuel our industries. And it was all Malay. Look at that. How much did she raise? Just for anyone who's thinking, oh, a
Twelve hundred
dollar,
dollars. She raised
$1,200.
$1,200 in pets. Yeah.
Unbelievable. That is
Yep.
so cool.
Yeah, she did well. But but basically I always take a
Okay.
challenge as a dare. It's like hold me down and I bounce higher, or the saying, if you throw me to the wolves, I just come back leading the pack. I mean, if you tell me that I can't do something, congratulations, you've just become my new motivation to prove you wrong.
That doesn't surprise me in any way, shape, or form. I love that. I love it. Next one, big life lessons.
Hey, so I have a couple of them. And of course, I have Paula-isms spent on them. So I say, you want to protect your peace like it's the last slice of pizza. Make sure, you watch that slice of pizza, make sure you protect your peace. Um, Back to what our conversation earlier, not everyone needs to have or gets or deserves VIP access to your life. No, you need to protect, you need to have your boxes. You have your personal box for your smaller circle, and you have your professional box. People don't need to know all the details or know what's going on, or nor do they deserve that. Just like when you get jeans fresh out of the dryer, growth is uncomfortable. I'm going through that right now. I'm growing a company, and I celebrate all the things I've done so far, but I'm staying up at night just trying to think about all the things I still need to do, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, it's
And
a great thing. Blessed to be busy. Blessed to be
yep,
busy. But isn't
abs-
it, could we just agree to one thing? How
mhm.
difficult is it to be in the heart of it sometimes, or in the eye of the storm, and you're like, my to-do list is so vast and there's just so much to do that sometimes it's hard to basically pause and say, wait a minute, I dreamt of this. I
Yeah,
wanted this.
yeah. I mean, I can show you. I was like laughing. I have my to-do list. I show my team every day. Like my to-do list, I have pages and pages and pages of to-do lists
Yeah.
every day. I mean, I have like here, like I'll show you to-do list. And then every day I have to add to, I have a whole book. This whole notebook is just to-do lists. So once again, I think, what I've been told by, other officers in the company and things, as much as I'm focused on the things that I have to do and haven't done, I need to celebrate the things that I have done. And I think it's really important that you take a breath and you do that. When you think about it, in May of last year, Pixel was literally just a name on a sheet of paper. And I drove across the country and we looked for, in less than, in beginning of June, and in less than a month, we had, a marketing plan, and we had a brand guide, and we had staff, and we had a warehouse, and we had inventory, and we were shipping by mid-July. So to go from May, that we're just a name on a piece of paper, and July we're shipping and we're attending shows and we're getting our name out there, and had a booth at IAPA, and people were looking for us at IAPA. Those are victories that I need to celebrate and say,
Absolutely.
wow, I did, wow, I did this.
Yes.
So I think it's really important, but going back to your self-care, that you celebrate those things. And remember that when you're up at night thinking, oh, I got to do this. I mean, you don't want to rest on your laurels of what you have already done and accomplished. You always want more and go the extra mile. But at the same time, you have to remember, you have to be kind and say, wow, I created this. I did this. We're a company now, that type of thing. Where,
that's right.
Less than 6 months ago, once again, Pixel was just a name on a piece of paper that, we were kicking around for a name.
That's right. That's just, wow. So what do you know with that? Let's conclude with, what do you know for sure? Like, in all the years and experiences that you have, the roads traveled, experiences you've had, tell us.
Well,
what do you know
actually,
for sure?
Well, actually, you helped shape the answer to that question with the conversation that we had a few days ago. So I think the purpose and strength keeps you steady. But I think when you know your strengths and you know your talents and you know your worth, and you walk through uncertainty like, I've got this, even when you don't, you still got this. You still do. And that's it. I think you just need to be confident in who you are, what your talents are, what you bring to the table. And even if you don't know something, A, you'll learn it, or B, you'll figure it out, but you're going to get through it.
Absolutely. And I know what you're talking about is the being certain in your uncertainty, which is the human condition, that nobody knows with certainty what's going to happen in the world, right? Or with the geopolitical situation or the economics, etc. And unfortunately, in the world that we're living in, far too many people take a confident woman such as yourself or man, etc. Just take an individual who's confident and assume that their confidence is tied to certainty. They conflate that, when in fact, at the end of the day, nobody is certain about anything. But what you can be certain about is yourself, and the fact that whatever comes your way, you've been through worse, you'll get through this, you're stronger than you know.
Right. And life is a lot of times riding by the seat of your pants. I have a little extra padding, but it's just knowing you're going to make it through the ride.
I love it. You're going to make it through the ride. And how astute. We are in amusement. So that is a funny, funny quote. Oh, that's hilarious.
I would just encourage, the one last thing I would do is I would tell any woman, or any person, actually, I shouldn't leave this just to, I think one of the things that we make is one of the problems is we make a lot of delineations and we put people in groups, and, we really want to view each other as professionals. So I would say any person, but since this is a women specific podcast, any person that wants to make their mark on the industry, and they don't know where to start, or they're trying to make a impact, I would just say get involved with all the associations and networking out there. If there's a chance for you to network, take it. Volunteer for a committee. And even if you don't want to volunteer for a committee, go to the AMOA booth or the AAMA booth or the IAPA booth or whoever it is. Volunteer to give out flyers during the education. Volunteer to sell 50-50 tickets. Volunteer to sit at a registration desk. You're going to meet everybody. You're going to interact with a lot of these people, key players. So if you can't afford to get into a big way, there are ways that you can get in and make an impact and meet people. And I know that for me, getting involved in at least two of the key associations is what catapulted me into people's consciousness and allowed me a platform to promote my business or promote whatever I was selling at the time. When I started in amusements, I was actually selling equipment and plush. So you get in front of people in a non-threatening way, and you want to, wherever you have that personal interaction, and also don't be quick to sell things. Get to know the people as the people.
That's right. Well, that's amazing. Absolutely amazing advice. And I will say for anybody who's watching this, okay, Paula, and this is where I knew, listen, I had already met you. We had already had great conversations, and I thought, hey, I know her, right? Like, I know Paula. Let me tell you, this is where I really knew what you were made of. There we are at the AMA education session, right? The series. And we were having, it was a midday lunch in which we had a singer from The Voice. She was a voice finalist. And anyway, so we're there at this lunch, and there's round tables of teams and people, and they're all watching her and whatnot. Some people are dancing and whatnot. And then I see you in the corner of my eye. You're going from table to table to table. And you've got the raffle tickets in your hand, right? The raffle tickets, that is the fundraise for charity for the Ronald McDonald House, right? For families with children, right? That have cancer and other illnesses and whatnot. Families in need, right? The families that support our industry. And I love that you were going from table to table to table going, you got your raffle tickets? Let me see. Okay. You're like, you got your raffle tickets? Where are you? And I thought she could literally run the mob. And I know you said don't sell right away. You're right. Okay. However, when it came to these raffle tickets, I'm like, is she going for the record? She is unstoppable. You went table to table to table, and then you look at the stage and be like, yeah. You got your raffle tickets? And you went from, and I just remember that. And I saw like how many raffle tickets you were moving. And again, all of it's for a good cause. And I thought, you know what? Paul is the best thing that ever happened to AMCF by far. Okay, so my dear, thank you for everything you do and how
welcome.
You do it and the gift of your example, because you have no idea who's watching and thinking, I could do that too.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me and recognizing me and Pixel. We appreciate it. It's always a pleasure to have these conversations.
I know. I love it.
Yeah.
Right? Because we're like, hey, let me share my secret sauce. Right? Because the reality is there isn't not a single person in this industry, Paula, not one, who doesn't have something of value to share or a challenge that they're currently navigating that you could actually help with. So to me, all of this is like a goodness, all of it. And I love that.
I'm going to give you one of my father's my father was a farm boy in Virginia. He had an 8th grade education. So I'm going to give you one of the most famous and most profound quotes that he's ever given. When me and my sister were having a fight and I called my sister stupid. And my father said, the dumbest person in the world knows something you don't know.
Go, Dad.
There you go. So I always remember, like you said, everybody always has something to contribute, and everybody knows something that you don't know.
Absolutely. And it's a value that they could share with you that could actually enable you to pivot, apply to your business, et cetera, et cetera. And that's what makes our industry so amazing.